Greetings to all my friends out there on YouTube. It's Wednesday, roughly noon. It's time for Wednesday Afternoon Live. And I actually managed to start this on time, which surprised the hell out of me. But hang on just a minute.
Start this on.
Sorry. I thought I was going to be late. I did post something up to that effect, but fortunately it worked out where I could be on time, and hopefully some folks will join in. Let's see. Yes, first victim. Guest. Just kidding. William Rizzo. Good morning, sir. Yep, it's morning for another 10 seconds, according to this watch anyway. So let's see. Not much going on today. We'll be making a video later, a watch related video later. I have many other things to do today before I get to that. I might even have to do that tomorrow. Yes, afternoon now. Yep, just went noon on me. Cool. Let's see. Looking forward to this weekend. Another weekend of college football. Always a nice thing. Let's see. My Gators are playing Texas A&M this weekend. Another noon start, or actually it'll be an 11 a.m. start because the game is being played in Texas, or Tejas, as I've heard it pronounced by other folks. And that's an alert for a video that I would dearly like to watch, but I'll watch it later. You're putting in new hurricane windows. That's a good idea. I'm almost done with that. Obviously, I'm not doing it myself because I have neither the skill nor the inclination to do it, and I certainly don't want to get up on a ladder and do some of those windows. I have most of the windows in this place done. I've still got 2 more windows and 1 big sliding glass door to do, but I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit because, well, we're almost at the end of hurricane season here in Florida. Even though there's that big monster right now, Delta, I think it's called, floating around in the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to head for poor little New Orleans, man. I'm telling you, that city takes a lot of abuse from Mother Nature. But then again, you're building a major city 20 feet below mean sea level. That's just crazy to me. So I hope their levees and their pump system holds up after. I think they made some improvements after Katrina. Anything is better than what happened after Katrina, I guess. So hopefully they will they'll ride it out and survive. But right now it's a Category 4, and it looks like it's going to stay that way until it hits land. So prayers to the folks on the northern Gulf Coast. Texas, Louisiana, Mobile, Florida Panhandle. I hope they ride it out okay. I hope it's the last of the storms this year. But right now, even though the Atlantic is cooling off, the Gulf of Mexico is still pretty warm, and it's warm water is the fuel for these storms. And I don't know. Maybe we could convince Al Gore to shut down his weather-making machine so he doesn't have to keep, making money about bleeding about this alleged global warming crap that's going on out there. Mr. Ellis, how are you, sir? Colby Ellis is here today. Appreciate that. Let me know. Oh, good. Rob F just showed up. He's on his lunch break. I appreciate you spending that with me and the rest of us out here. This is on StreamYard. At some point, I will drop the link into the chat. So if anybody wants to come on, and help pass the time a little bit more, definitely do that. Mr. Steve Pearson has showed up. That is always a good thing. Afternoon to you, sir. I also just got a text message from my buddy Uncle Lou up there in Georgia. He is sending me something that is part of my Patreon membership with his channel. And I've been waiting for that to come for a while, and he just told me he dropped it in the mail today. So hopefully it'll show up soon, and maybe the next live stream I do, I'll have that around to show you guys, because I've been looking forward to that, and I think it's going to add a little something. I don't know how often I'll use the thing, but certainly for the next live stream, I'll have it around so you can see it. So, what's going on out there in the world with you guys? Anything you want to particularly talk about? Let me know. I just saw. I'll see if I can pull this up again. I just saw something just before I went live. I have to find it if I can, which I thought was rather interesting. And I bet you I can't find it again because that's just the way here it is. Here it is. Adam Silver, the walking skeleton NBA commissioner, who I personally think is a low-grade moron and so easily manipulated and molded into whatever everyone else wants him to be, that he sort of resembles Jell-O in a way to me, that he can be poured into a mold and told what to do. And this comes from a website called Outkick.com, which I've never heard of before. Adam Silver, this is the headline. Adam Silver, NBA social justice messaging will be largely left off the court next season. I wonder if this has anything to do with the fact that NBA ratings for the entire playoffs have tanked, and the NBA Finals rating is down by some measures 60 to 70% over what it should be. I wonder. Adam Silver sat down for an interview with Rachel Nichols, whoever she is, on NBA Countdown. Never heard of it. Earlier this week, and indicated that the social justice messaging that currently displayed on courts and the backs of players' jerseys will be largely left off the floor next season. And then there's a video. And then it goes on with, a little back and forth with the woke Nichols and the woke Silver. And, he's making excuses and more excuses. And then, after the interview crap passes, the ratings have fallen precipitously throughout the playoffs, especially during the NBA Finals. It's true that the NBA is out of season, and other out-of-season sports like hockey and horse racing are down too, and it's weird with no fans in the stands. The NBA is competing against football games and Major League Baseball playoffs, where it normally has sports fans' attention, blah, 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 blah. So barely acknowledging that the ratings are down in the story, which, of course, I would expect out of a media organization of whatever. And there's a similar story on Hannity.com, which I would trust a hell of a lot more than Outkick, I would think. And let's see if Hannity story says something about the NBA continues to hemorrhage fans over the weekend when the final championship series was viewed by less than 5 million Americans each night, the lowest recorded since the association started keeping track in 1994. In other words, my friends, the NBA has finally seen truth in the saying, go woke, go broke. So that makes me smile. And a big FU to the NBA for realizing too late that pissing off the vast majority of your viewership kills your revenue. I hope you enjoy all the red ink from the 2020 season. Maybe you can get it back in 2021. I don't care. I'm not watching you anymore. I wasn't watching you anyway. I haven't watched basketball since Bird and Magic era. I think the current era players are garbage. They wouldn't survive in the era of Bird and Magic. You get one of these NBA players to drive the lane with guys like Kareem and Lambeer and Parrish and Oakley standing in the, and a whole bunch of other guys standing in the middle, and they'll take your head off. And these players nowadays can't take a hit. With all their load management and their whining and bitching about everything, they couldn't hang in the real NBA. So the NBA lost me a long time ago. So I'm not going to quibble about it anymore. I'm not going to talk about it really anymore unless you guys want to. But as far as I'm concerned, with the NBA figuring it out way too late that you pissed off your audience, I hope you drown in red ink. Anyway, looking back at the chat, Steve says, I think the damage has already been done. Same with the No Fun League. A lot of people won't go back no matter what. I agree with that. Absolutely. I haven't gone back to the NFL in this is my 6th year of not watching. And while a few people refer to us non-watching NFL folks as NFL Karens, actually, it would be the male version of a Karen is called a Darren, but not to quibble too much. You can call me a Karen, an NFL Karen if you want to. I don't give a shit. My time with the No Fun League is done. It was done 6 years ago with the, it was done with the endless ads broken up by the occasional play or two. It was done with the idiot commentators who don't know what the hell they're talking about and are about as exciting to listen to as watching paint dry. The rule changes that literally take all the fun out of the game. Nobody can tell you from play to play what a catch is anymore. And then the kneeling crap started. I mean, they lost me. I was watching NFL Red Zone instead of games when I stopped watching completely because of all the pre-kneeling BS that was going on. I had to watch Red Zone to get to remain entertained by the game because there's no ads and there's very little commentator crap, and they only show the plays that the major plays. But the no ad thing was the key for me, and then the kneeling crap started, and I just gave up on the National Felons League because I have no time for that crap anymore, and I don't miss it. I really don't. And yeah, you can say, hey, you talk about it so much about something you don't watch anymore. Yeah, well, you know what? It continues to bother me, and it's just me. It continues to bother me. I'm going to continue. If they can continue to speak out against the flag and the cops and the military and the country, then I can continue to speak out against them. If they're allowed their free speech, I'm allowed mine. Besides, it's my channel. I can do what I want. Let's see. Real Big Lee's here. How you doing, sir? How are you? Yeah, third and Grantham is alive and well in Gainesville. What can I say? The defense isn't up to the offense level, and the defense looks worse than last year. The defense is younger than it was last year. We lost a good number of key players. They're playing on Sundays now for the most part. So our defense is young. It doesn't have a lot of experience, and it's not playing well. We have about a month before we play Georgia, which I know you're a Georgia fan. I'm pretty sure you're a Georgia fan. And we got about a month to work it out, try and get a little better, and see if we can bring something to Jacksonville that resembles a Gator defense. Now, Georgia has its own problems. I mean, they're not throwing the ball very well, even with and all of a sudden the savior for the Bulldogs is a 5'10", 195-pound walk-on that he's playing really good. I mean, give him his due. He's playing well, but he's not throwing the ball great. So, maybe we can stack the box against Georgia, try and stop the run, and dare him to beat us with his arm. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. Neither do you. But I have confidence in our offense. The running game looks a bit better. Our passing game is lights out. Our offense is clicking really well. Special teams looks good. Defense, needs to improve. We'll see what happens this weekend against A&M. But yeah, I'm one of those people in Gator Nation that can look at my Gators honestly and say there are problems. I'm not one of those glitter Gators. And yes, I was the one that coined the term glitter Gator. Nobody will give me credit for it. I'm not one of those glitter Gators that say, yeah, we're winning. Shut up. I'm on Gator Nation on Facebook all the time. I'm getting murdered by almost everybody telling me to shut up and stay in my lane. The Gators are winning. Stop talking bad about the Gators. I say, I'm sorry. There are problems. They need to be addressed. And I think at the end of this year, if third and Grantham doesn't really start to improve, Grantham needs to go take a seat somewhere, and we need to go find another DC. Now bring back Charlie Strong. Why didn't we bring Charlie Strong back when we had the chance? He did great for us before. Why wouldn't he do it again? And besides, the man can recruit. But, that's just me. What do I know, right? Colby wants to know, do I have a car wash membership or do you self-clean? That depends on the cars, Colby. If it's the Saleen, I prefer to hand wash it and clean it myself because A, it's my baby and I enjoy that. B, the car rides very low, and putting that thing into a tunnel style automatic car wash is very dangerous. I mean, it could get hung up on the track. Some of those things have undercarriage wash jets, and the exhaust hangs pretty low on that car. It has gotten caught before on those things. They actually had to go in there and back the car out and then reposition it, and it somehow made it through. But I'm afraid it's going to get the exhaust torn out. So I hand wash the Saleen. I have a shop vac. I can clean the interior. I used to detail cars before when I was much younger, so I know what I'm doing. Now my Sonata, my daily driver, my family car, if you will, that's just I haven't modified that car at all, so that's standard. That's a standard car for me. So I'll run that thing through car washes when it's needed. But yeah, the Saleen is pretty much always hand washed. Fortunately, my back is not bothering me lately. Last time it bothered me was a few years ago, and damn near crippled me for a while. So I'm still physically able to do that. So I enjoy doing it. It's peaceful for me. It's relaxing for me to do that. Of course, in Florida, you sweat like crazy when you do that. Let's see. Let's see. Real Bigly says same thing we said, Saleen. Trust me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. Grantham was a DC at Georgia, and we picked him up. So he did the same thing in Georgia. I mean, he's not a bad DC. He did fine in Georgia. He did fine in Florida, but damn, he's got to coach him up a little more. He's got to start working with them a little more. This is a young defense compared to what we've had for the past couple of years. So he needs to step his game up a little more. He needs to coach him up a little more. Let's see. Thoughts on Georgia, Tennessee? Mr. Pearson wants to know. Big Lee, of course, will say go Dogs. Well, I think Steve is also a dog fan too. My thoughts on the Georgia-Tennessee game. Well, if you were on the show last night, you know that I called into the evening show with Lou, and I made my mea culpa, my apology for picking Auburn. By the way, if you didn't know, I've recently been added onto the main event live stream, which happens Thursday nights at 7:30, I believe. I believe it is on ACP Carter's channel. Hopefully you guys know who Carter is. He's good sidekick to BVD, and he started a show initially with himself, Tiger Cat, or TK as we all love to call her, and Marcus Aurelius, who's a Florida fan like me, who's been on Lou's channel and my channel and BVD's channel. And they added me last week as a guest, and then we got to talking, and they decided to make me part of the show going forward. So I'll be on there. And I guest picked last week, and I picked Auburn to beat Georgia. The reason I picked Auburn to beat Georgia is because the quarterback situation was goofy. And I thought with Auburn's quarterback situation being solid, and I thought they had a decent running game, and I thought they had a decent defense, and I thought wrong, and I apologize to Lou for that. And I also said that save the Florida game, I would not be picking against Georgia for the rest of the year. That being said, long way around to saying that, I'm not going to pick against Georgia this weekend. However, I think Tennessee has a decent chance this year. I mean, their offensive line is very good. They have an experienced quarterback, and they have a good running game, and the defense ain't bad. It's going to be a closer game than it has been in the past few years, I think. But it's in Athens. And Georgia is clearly a superior team on both sides of the ball. I still think the quarterback position is still a bit suspect, and I think Kirby is putting any quarterback that plays under Kirby Smart, I think, is on a very short leash. And I think that Bennett is going to be on a short leash once again. And if he screws up even this much, they're going to yank him and either put in Daniels or what's that other guy's name? Mathis? I don't know if they'll put Mathis in. I mean, he looked pretty bad. But maybe they'll put him in and just hand the ball off. I don't know. Pardon me. I think that the weather is going to play a big factor with respect to the fact that the by then remnants of Hurricane Delta will be passing through the area and make the conditions rather sloppy. So I don't think there's going to be much need for throwing. I think that hurts Tennessee more than it hurts Georgia, since Georgia is more of a run-first team anyway, at least from what I've seen. So I think Georgia's gonna win this game. I think it's going to be a one-score game, though, because of the conditions. The conditions are not going to favor a lot of scoring. So I think a 7-point win by Georgia is certainly possible. Now, in my heart, Georgia losing does nothing but help me, because Florida is going to win the game against Texas A&M. A&M hasn't got the horsepower, in my opinion, to stay with Florida if we get rolling. Question is what happens with our defense, but we'll see. If Georgia loses, that's a loss, SEC loss. And if Georgia loses next week to Alabama, that's 2. If we roll in to Jacksonville and we lose to Georgia, which, God, if that happens, you Georgia fans are going to be fucking insufferable. But if that happens, we are still down. We're still up 1 game. So if we run the table and finish 9-1, and Georgia finishes 8-2, we go to Atlanta. Hopefully, give Alabama a good game, or whoever. Well, let's face it, it's going to be Bama. Nobody's going to beat Bama in the West. So I'm thinking again, like I did last week when I picked Auburn to beat Georgia. I'm trying to think strategically, but I'm not going to pick Tennessee to beat Georgia. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it happens, it helps Florida. But I just don't think Tennessee can beat Georgia this year. But that's why we play the game, folks. I mean, nobody thought South Carolina was going to beat Georgia last year. Nobody thought Auburn was going to beat Alabama last year. Nobody thought that Tennessee was going to lose its first 2 games to cupcakes. It's why you go on the field and you play the game, because, anything can happen. Let's see. Colby Ellis says, I'm a manager at a car wash in Augusta. That's why I asked. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So you live near Lou. Okay. Yeah, most car washes are not built for really low cars. And Saleen Mustangs are already pretty low compared to a standard Mustang. And then I put in a set of Steeda X2 ball joints and a bump steer kit, and that lowered the car another 3/4 of an inch over what it was already low. So my car is very sensitive to speed bumps, obstructions on the road, that kind of thing. So car washers are definitely not something I want to play with that car. And I got we got text messages I got to respond to real quick. Yeah. Just had to get that out of the way. Okay. So what else we got? Well, what do you guys think of the games upcoming? I mean, I guess most of you are Georgia fans in here, so geez, only 5 people in here. Maybe these streams are getting unpopular. But what other games are you keeping an eye on besides Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, A&M? I am going to, believe it or not, I am going to watch, and I hate these 2 teams. I really do. Both their fan bases are absolutely insufferable. And personally, I wish the stadium would get swallowed up by the earth and both teams cease to exist. But I'm going to watch the Notre Dame Florida State game because as much as I hate Notre Dame, and I really hate Notre Dame, actually, I worked for IBM for 10 years back in the days of my youth. And my immediate manager, who is actually a great guy, Bill McCullough, shout out to him if he ever watches. He was a big Notre Dame fan. Even though back in the 90s when I was there, just Notre Dame fans were insufferable, even though their team was irrelevant. He always used to, beat me up over Notre Dame's rich history. And whatever, rich history. Didn't do him any good back then, doesn't do him any good now. But as much as I dislike Notre Dame, as you all know, my hatred of Florida State runs 10 miles deep and 50 miles wide. And I'll say it before, I'll say it again. My three favorite teams in college football are the Gators, the Harvard Crimson, because of my dad, and any team that's playing against Florida State. So I would love to see Florida State ride up to South Bend, Indiana on national TV and get their asses handed to them by the Golden Domers. It'd be, for me, it's just, Catholics versus criminals part 2 or whatever. But I really want to see Notre Dame just crush Florida State. They're 1-2. I would like to see them go 1-9. How many games are the ACC playing? 10, 11? I want to see them. I think it's 11. I want to see them go 1-10. And I think it's possible because I look at their schedule. At best, I see 3 wins on their schedule total, and 2 of them are suspect. And the 2 that I see are suspect. I think any team in the ACC can beat Florida State right now. I think they are that bad and that demoralized, but we'll see what happens. But certainly, I want to see Notre Dame just beat the brakes off of Florida State. And then I want to turn around and I want to see the Clemson-Miami game because I'm very interested. I mean, Clemson is the yardstick in the ACC, obviously. They've been that way for, a decade? How far back is Miami? Let's find out how back Miami is. Let's see how they do against the class of the ACC. I think they will probably, given what they've been doing so far in 2020, I think Miami will do well in the game. But how well? I don't know. If they can keep it to a 2-touchdown game, that would certainly be an improvement. I mean, they could easily get blown out, but if they can keep it within a couple of scores or even, push Clemson, that would show me that Miami is definitely an improved team. It's all down to the quarterback, baby. It's all down to the quarterback. Let's see. Steve agrees with me that Clemson-Miami should be interesting. Colby is saying, sorry, I'm a few minutes behind live. And yeah, I've been to Lou's house once a few years back. Great family. I was at his house once. Obviously, there's video evidence of that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet his wife, and I didn't get to meet Luann, but I got to meet Lou. I got to meet his son, and I got to meet his father. Father and all 3 of them are great guys. I mean, they were very hospitable to me. Had a great time. Had a great time doing the live show on Monday. I got there on a Sunday. I did the live show on a Monday, and then I drove home. From there, I had a great time doing the live show. But damn, that garage was small. But I would love to be able to go see Lou's new place. That That's a big improvement over, I'm sure, over that garage. Big Wrist is here. How you doing, sir? Big Lee, I agree with you. I think FSU may have won their only game last Saturday, and they had to struggle to do it. The game was obviously not available. It was actually on ESPN 3 or Watch ESPN or whatever it's called, but it was blacked out in Florida, so I couldn't watch it. So I had to watch the old style Gamecast. If any of you remember, before the age of streaming, there was ESPN Gamecast where you just basically looking at the screen with a graphic of the field, and they're showing the different plays and everything and keeping it in near real time. Yeah, they were behind for most of that game. They really struggled in that game. So Jacksonville State is this little podunk school in Alabama, and they struggle to beat them. And that's not a good look for Florida State, which I don't care about because Florida will get all the good recruits. Let's see. Ballard Sports Media is here. How you doing, sir? Let's see. Big Dog Brett showed up. I appreciate the thumbs up, and I appreciate you enjoying the show. Feel free to kick in at any time. I wonder if I could entice Brett into coming on in the StreamYard. That would be funny. He always gives me shit when I get on his channel, so you know he's entitled to. I mean, Florida hasn't beaten Georgia in a while yet, so. Yeah, real quick, now that he's mentioned that, I appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget to click that thumbs up button. Does help. You know, the more likes I get, the more the channel is searchable on the YouTube algorithms. I put a link to my PayPal in the description in case anybody wants to do that. Obviously, you do not have to. I just mentioned it in passing, and also the super chat is available as well. Obviously, you don't have to do that either. Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link in for the StreamYard because that's one of the reasons I started using StreamYard is bring other folks in and chat with them in the yard, and makes the show go easier on me because I don't have to do all the talking. I don't have to carry the whole show and see if anybody wants to come in. If you don't want to, that's fine. Just checking this real quick. No, why would I? I don't know. No, go away. Somebody emailed or somebody messaged me, asked me if I want to buy a Panerai watch. No, I don't want to buy a Panerai. Those things are ugly as sin. Jeez, I know none of you know what I'm talking about, but trust me when I say Panerai watches are a horrible looking watch. I would never. If somebody handed me one and said, "Here, you keep this," I want to turn around and sell it. I wouldn't wear one of those out. I mean, they look like a clown watch to me. Okay, no problem, Brett. No problem. No problem. I'm sure he has some thoughts on the Tennessee game upcoming, so I would love to hear those. Ballard, what are you doing? Let's see. Who does Bama play this weekend, Ballard? I think they got another easy one. I forgot who. If I think about it for a minute, I'll remember it. Old Piss. Okay, yeah. Oh, well, okay. So lame kitten is gonna face his old boss. That should be a hoot. I think Alabama will probably spank them pretty good. I mean, I don't think Ole Miss has anything for anybody this year, and and honestly, I mean, everyone's all excited over the twin hires in Mississippi of Lane Kitten and Bigfoot over at Mississippi State. I just don't see it. I don't see Mississippi State fan base and Old Miss's fan base putting up with the antics of those two jerk offs. But We'll see. I don't know. I guess if you win, you're winning. You'll put up with anything. Let's see. Ballard's in here, so let's add him in.
Yeah, man, me with typos. Man, I'm sorry. I meant Ole Miss, not Ole Piss. Although, if you think about it, didn't they piss away that Egg Bowl last year? Did you see the
Oh
game?
yeah. I didn't see the game. I saw replays of that idiot player. Making like a dog taking a leak on a hydrant or something.
Yeah,
Didn't that
that was
cost him?
hilarious.
Didn't that pretty much cost him the game?
Well, I mean, it gave them a kickoff penalty, but they missed the extra point, I think.
Yeah,
I
because they
think
had
they
to
missed
back
the
him up
field goal.
15 yards, didn't they?
Yeah, that's called karma for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember. Oh God, it happened to Florida recently, and it damn near cost them a game, but luckily they recovered from it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. This is for me the rule in the pro level and in the college level where you basically do something great and then you just have to kind of put your arms to your side and walk back to the huddle or walk back to the sideline and show no emotion. Or if you blip a smile, they throw a flag and hit you with 15 yards.
Right.
I just don't know. I mean, celebrations like that or the Fun Bunch and the Redskins used to do, and the crap that Terrell Owens used to pull, or what's his name, Ocho Cinco or whatever the hell his name was. That's shit. But I mean, just having a little celebration, showing a little emotion, and they hit you with a 15-yard penalty. It's one of the reasons I stopped watching the Felons League.
Yeah.
Just these are adult males, young adult males, middle-aged adult male, whatever. Let them have a little fun. Let them show a little emotion. The game, sports in general, is an emotion based thing. Oh, Christy's here. How you doing there, gorgeous? I love Christy. She's such
so
a,
you
she's
happy
such
with
a Hang on, gotta add Big Lee in here.
Lee?
There you go.
What's
Another
up,
Georgia
man?
fan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Hey, shout out to that Ole Miss player that pissed on the hydrant and got Matt Luke fired. That's why he's our offensive line coach now.
Yeah, Bama plays Ole Piss. I mean, dang it, I keep saying it. Well, yeah, whatever. Ole Piss this week. Ole Piss.
Well, where's the game? Tuscaloosa or?
I think it's in Oxford, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Yeah, Bama goes on the road. What do you think of your Gators so far, Saleen? I got them winning the East.
Well, offense is playing lights out. Running game looks better this year than it did last year, but I mean, you could make the argument that that's not saying much, but you know what? And a running game that could actually pick up a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2 or 4th and 1. If we had that last year, we might have actually beaten Georgia because we turned the ball over to them too much because we couldn't convert those. But we can speculate about that all until the end of time. Defense, C. I give him a C. Needs improvement. I mean, I was watching a video today, earlier this morning. It's this guy, this one channel. It's called In All Kinds of Weather. It's a Florida channel, and basically what the guy does is he cuts together a 20-minute video of basically all the highlights, just the plays. Cuts out the huddles, cuts out all that stuff, just the major plays, and all the scores on both sides of the ball. And he would show a play or two where the defense would just rise up and get a great stop or just, tackle for loss break up a pass, give one of those what I call the dead roach tackles, where the ball carrier is on the ground like this, and then the next play, guy rips a 9-yard run or a 15-yard over the middle pass play, and it's like, where's the consistency here? I mean,
let me tell you about Todd Grant and Saleen. What's that
God, here we
saying?
go.
You keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Definition of insanity. That's Todd Grant.
I've noticed that.
He came to Georgia in 2010. 10 wasn't that great, but 11 and 12 we had pretty good defenses, but we still give up big runs for no good reason. And then in 2013 is really where Third and Grantham came from. So we would have teams 3rd and 20, and they would convert constantly. Left us, went to Louisville, but had 2 good years. Same thing happened in his 3rd year. Third and Grantham came back. Then went to Mississippi State and didn't have time for that to happen. Now he's at Florida and the same exact thing's happening.
I've seen that happen. I've seen a lot of 3rd and longs being converted because the man lives and dies by the blitz. Now
that's all we can do.
The last 2 years, it worked pretty well, but this year it's a younger unit, it's a young defense, and it's not working so good.
Same thing in 2013. We had all our players leave the NFL, and a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing. You'll probably see it pretty soon. They'll be standing out in the middle of nowhere with their hands up in the air, wondering what the hell the call is. They don't know what. They say his scheme is so hard to understand. All these disguise and blitz and all that horse crap. They don't understand it. And they'll be on the sideline there with their hands up in the air, wondering what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm definitely in the camp, and unfortunately, by my experiences on some of the Gator forums that I'm on Facebook, I'm in the minority at the moment. I'm of the opinion that Grantham has got to this year at some point has got to prove that he can coach up a young defensive unit, or he got to go. And I know, and I see Lou. Lou is in the comment section. Hi, Lou. How you doing? And I also see that Slim Shady Kane is in here too. So welcome to both of you. Glad you're supporting me. I appreciate it. I really do. But Lou is definitely he clowned me a little bit. I mean, he said I posted up something on Facebook saying fire Grantham. Because I was frustrated, and I am frustrated. And he immediately came back to me, replied, said, "I told you that 2 years ago." And
I'll be highly surprised if Todd Grantham don't leave this year to go somewhere else. He does it everywhere he's been.
Well, you know what? I wish we had a chance. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year in the offseason. We had a chance to get back our old DC, Charlie Strong. I wish we had. I really do. I mean, not only is he a great guy, and the players love him wherever he goes, but the man knows how to coach up a young defense. I don't think Grantham does. I really don't.
That's what Grantham, he'll take players that's been taught by somebody else, make them look like world beaters, and then when his players, quote unquote, his players come in and like what we heard, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Just like Georgia, they took coaching from somewhere else and they leave, went to Louisville, took Charlie Strong's coaching, and Todd Grantham did a blitz the whole time. They look good, and then when they all leave, they look like trash. He leaves. It's over and over and over. I guarantee you he's gonna leave after this year once y'all realize that he just don't know what the hell he's doing.
Well, it wouldn't break my heart. I'll just say that if Grantham decided to go elsewhere at the end of 2020, my heart will not be broken. It really won't. But I guess we'll have to see it. You know, right now
We
we've got
loved him in 11 and 12, and then 13. He cost us several games.
we got to live with what we got. I mean, I think, and other people will see the way they see it. I see our running game and our offensive line, pardon me, look better than they did last year. But like I said, I mean, they were pretty bad last year, so any improvement is improvement. So I think they look better.
I believe having Todd Grantham is the reason that line looks so weak in the A&M game, because Texas A&M ain't no good. They're terrible.
Lee, you're breaking up pretty bad.
Can you hear me now?
I mean, when you're able to be heard, you're fine, but your signal keeps dropping. You know, every other word.
Well, I'm about to go to the pass spot. I'll just try to get on later on.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. I'll tell you one thing. The Big 12 this year.
Yes.
Rest in peace to me. Because Oklahoma started with a loss. Pretty much every team started with a loss. And quite a few of those were non-conference. And, I mean, I guess there's only like Oklahoma State that's ranked and undefeated. Texas is ranked, but they're at 22 with a loss. What are your thoughts on how bad the Big 12 is so far?
I've never really thought the Big 12 was a particularly good conference. I mean, their teams are what I think of as like, you know, they're the teams that eat dessert first. You know, if you know they're all offense, they're all dessert, they're all, you know, everybody loves the points on the board. Everyone loves their chocolate cake and all that. Everyone loves the points on the board, the exciting shit. But when it comes to the meat and potatoes, the defense, you know, the grind, you know, the part where you win or lose in the trenches, you know, eating your vegetables, that kind of thing. They're 5-year-olds. They don't want to. They push that shit away. They don't want to hear it. The whole conference seems to be like that. Nobody plays defense. Yeah. Everyone wants to play offense. Everyone wants to run up the score like they're playing a video game or something. It wouldn't surprise me to see the small 12 champion come out of there with a couple of losses and not be even near consideration for the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see 2 ACC teams and 2 SEC teams. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see, you know, Ohio State, Clemson, the SEC champion, and the SEC runner-up get in there. So I don't – the way the Big 12 is playing right now, I don't see any of them coming out of that conference being ranked high enough to be considered for the championship. I really don't.
I mean, there's only 3.
Ballard.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, well, you're in and out a little bit. So
I was trying to say that there's only 3 teams from the Big 12: Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and Kansas State. And 2 of those teams, actually, I'm sorry, all 3 of them are 2-0. At some point, those teams will probably lose. And, you know, so it's not going to last for that long for those 3, at least.
There's the link if anybody else wants to jump in. No restrictions. No? Anyway. Well, I just don't see the Big 12 producing anybody. Certainly the Pac-12 isn't going to produce anybody worthy.
Right.
I think you get one Big 10 school in, probably going to be Ohio State. Unless somebody knocks them off the mountain. Then Clemson, I mean, I don't see anyone knocking Clemson off. I mean, the only two teams that have a shot at knocking Clemson off are Notre Dame and maybe Miami, and I don't think Miami's got the horsepower. Not this year anyway. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see what happens after this weekend. I mean, Miami has shown a lot of life. They've shown great skill, but they got enough skill to beat Clemson.
Yeah,
it's in Clemson, right? I mean, the game is in South Carolina, so that makes it tougher.
Yeah, and we all know Clemson is not only are they ahead, they're like miles ahead with what Dabo's done.
Yeah, but I it's like Miami. I see you. You're not looking bad. I mean, granted, the three teams you've beaten are not at the caliber of Clemson right now, but we see you.
Yeah.
You're a top 10 team right now. Well, let's see what happens on Saturday. I mean, I'm going to watch that game. It is a night game. I can't remember if it's a night game.
I think it's probably like 7:30.
Okay, so I'll have it on one screen, and I'll have Lou's live stream on another. And my buddy Slim. Definitely want to add Slim in. He's a Cane. I want to hear his opinion.
Well, the spread is at right now 14, I think.
Is
Clemson.
it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Clemson's 14-point favorite.
Slim,
Saleen,
what's up?
another day in the neighborhood, boss.
Speak up a little, sir. Speak up just a little bit more.
You hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
All right.
I think he got a good shot this weekend. I really do. I don't know if you can win. I don't know. That's why we play the game. That's why we put it on the field. But yeah, I got to admit, I wouldn't want to play this team. I wouldn't want to put the defense that we're putting on the field right now. I would not want to put them up against Miami right now.
Now I've been wondering all year what happened to Florida's defense this year.
Oh, a lot of them graduated.
Well, I
It's a
get
pretty-
that, but I'm sure y'all were like LSU. You had plenty of players behind them.
I thought we did too. I think we still have plenty of players behind them. I don't doubt the skill of the players. I'm beginning to doubt the skill of the coach. Grantham. If I don't know if any of you guys besides Lou, who's in there, follow me on Facebook, but during the game on Saturday, I was saying, or after the game, I was saying we got to, either Grantham got to step up or he got to go. I still believe that. I mean, these are kids. These are 18 to 22-year-old kids. They need coaching. If the DC can't coach these kids up and get them to play better, then next guy up, step up or step off. I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, I'm not one of these glitter gators. I'm not one of like Lou's got his Disney dogs. I got the glitter gators all over me on Gator Nation and a few other places I'm on Facebook. I criticize Grantham. Man, they come out of the woodwork to attack me. Oh, you should be banned. You're no Florida fan. Well, first of all, this is a public group. You can't ban me. And second of all, if you're not smart enough to see what's in front of your lying eyes, then your opinion doesn't matter to me anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm a Jew. Most Miami fans don't like my 2 cents on many subjects, but
I mean, there are fans, and then there are honest fans. I mean, an honest fan, like I think Lou is an honest fan. He's as big a Georgia fan as I've ever seen anyone be a fan of a team before. But the man is not above pointing out problems, taking shots at the problems, and publicly stating what the problems are with his team. I'm not. I am a big Florida fan. I love my Gators. I have since the mid '70s, but I am not above saying we got major problems and we need to work these things out, or we're going to get boat raced by somebody. I said it in when was the last time we won the division? 15 and 16. You know, we won the division fairly handily. And I said, yeah, well, we're going to go into Atlanta and get killed because we have no offense. Guess what?
Well,
we got killed.
This year. I mean, it's basically the same this year. You have no defense. And, I mean, Uncle Lou disagrees with me about this. He thinks it's more about offenses in football today. But, I mean, Oklahoma's the perfect example of how that doesn't work.
Yep.
Hey, I just noticed something. Hey, Chris, Watch Lounge is in a guy the name Watch Lounge. Chris, go find the link, the StreamYard link. It's right up there, right near where you posted. He's a Clemson fan. I want to see if he come in and talk to you. You got to talk to Slim.
Oh Lord.
Nah, he's a good guy. I don't know how much he knows about college. He knows a lot about watches, but he's also a big Clemson fan. So,
I mean, I completely acknowledge that if Miami wins that game, it will definitely be an upset. And you know,
no doubt.
My analysis is about the same as your and Lou's. You know, they have the ability to do it. Now, I'm a little lower on Miami even than Uncle Lou is, and it's, you know, granted, coming from a jaded perspective over the last decade, but I don't know. Clemson seems a tick off from what they've been. Or is that just me?
No, I agree. Now, Chris isn't going to be here that long, so he's not coming in. But I know his Gator Zone is in here, so welcome to him. Surprised Lou hasn't tried to chime in, but maybe he's probably working on something else.
When I said something about defenses, I expected him to pop in and call me an idiot.
He calls me an idiot all the time. That's fine.
Well, I don't. It doesn't bother me. And I realize that that's even coming from a football perspective, where it would have been more true, you know, in the early 2000s. But I mean, I still find it true today. Yes, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama can do a lot on offense, but all of them have very good defenses as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hoping. I mean, at this, and we're only 2 games into the season, right? Going to be 3 in a couple of days. I'm hoping that our defense can, you know, because defense is always lag behind offenses anyway, especially with this offseason where there was probably not a lot of hitting going on, which hurts the defenses more because they can't hit and tackle in practice. So I'm hoping that affected us more than it should, but it affected us. And I'm hoping that with game experience and game speed and game tackling, that a young defense builds up some skills and some improvements. And, you know, by the time we get into November, they improve enough where they can, you know, slow some people down. If they can't, then that Georgia game is going to be a very long and unpleasant afternoon for Florida's.
Yeah,
Gator
I'll
Nation.
say the same thing. I, you know, based off of just what we've seen so far, I would pick Florida over Georgia and Alabama right now.
Well, Georgia has their own problems.
No doubt.
But their defense is world class.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta say right now I wouldn't pick Florida. I would pick Florida over Georgia just because I mean I have to. My heart says always pick Florida over everybody.
Well,
But rationally, rationally, Florida would lose to Georgia right now. If Georgia's offense, continues to click like it is. I mean, they have a quarterback issue, but their running game is so solid it can mask it.
Well, yeah,
and right now our run defense has got a lot of holes in it.
What we've seen out of Florida's defense so far may make Stetson Bennett look like a Heisman candidate.
Well, here's the thing. What if, and I'll throw it out there, what if Florida, let's say they stay with Stetson, and he does, Fromm-like numbers or maybe a little better. But what if Florida decides to stack the box and just say, we're gonna do everything we can to shut the running game down, and we're gonna say to Stetson, beat us with your arm. Can he do it? I don't know. I'd like to see some more out of Stetson. He looks good. I mean, he doesn't look bad. I mean, he's got good accuracy. He's making good decisions. So if their defense doesn't show, big enough improvement, I guess the game plan would be stack the box, stop the run as best you can, and make Georgia beat you over the top. I don't know if that can work or not. I really don't. But that may be what it comes down to if the defense doesn't show improvement. We just pick one thing to stop and pray we can slow down the other, I guess. I don't know.
Well, based off of what you just said, if Stetson Bennett is coming out putting up Jake Fromm-like numbers, then me being a disinterested third party, I'd have to put my money on Georgia because Jake Fromm beat Florida 3 years in a row.
Yes, he did. Well, 2 of those 3 years in a row, we didn't have much of an offense.
Right.
The last year, we did better on offense, and we kept the game closer, at least in the second half we did. But we had no running game. We couldn't convert critical 3rd and 4th and shorts. And that killed us.
Right.
I still say that wasn't a catch. But, did I say that out loud? Never mind.
I mean, that all would just come back to, the age-old saying, and I still believe it to be true, that the better defense beats the better offense. You put the
and Georgia's defense was better.
Yeah, if you put the number one offense against the number one defense, 9 times out of 10, that number one defense is going to come out on top.
Well, the 2 of those 3 games, I mean, that was Frank's under center.
Right.
And I realize it's not all one player that, hurts you or helps you. It's a team game. But, I mean, Lou's been pointing it out for a while now with Miami. They were, they've got a world-class level quarterback, and now look at them.
Oh, yeah.
We had
one. I've been saying it as well.
Yeah. And we had a garbage quarterback in 17 and 18 with Franks, and look at what Georgia did to us.
Yeah, what happened with, so Felipe Franks, before Trask took over after he got hurt, there was all this hype. Did the hype catch up to him after what happened at the end of, I guess the end of 2018, then Franks came in 2019, and then Trask took over then, I believe, last year, right?
Well, Trask took over because Franks got injured. I mean, right. And I gotta agree with others that have said, I don't know what the hell Mullen was thinking, picking Franks over Trask. I honestly think that nobody knew what we had with Trask. Honestly, nobody knew.
I kept hearing about Emory Jones. What happened to him?
He's still there. He's playing. Not playing much, but
running around there with his hairnet and frying pan, or
I don't know. He's the backup quarterback. That's all you can say. I mean, he has talent. I wish he would get on the field more and show some of it, but Jones has talent. He just hasn't been given a chance. And this is Trask's last year, so next year, if Jones doesn't leave, that's his time. I don't know what to say with respect to Jones. I'm glad he's still here. I hope he gets his chance. But with Trask under center last year, Florida looked a hell of a lot better as an offense. I mean, the decision making alone was infinitely better. Franks came in 19 with, because he finished fairly strong in 2018. And everyone thought that coming into 19, he had grown up, he had been coached up, he looked better. He was hopefully going to make better decisions. He was going to grow up as a human being. And then we get to the Miami game and he's, same old idiot all over again. Well, damn near cost us the game.
I mean, that is also a tough defense. So, I mean, they can make a lot of quarterbacks bad.
Yeah. Well, Franks is, in my opinion, naturally an idiot. So it doesn't take a hell of a lot to make an idiot look like an idiot. You just have to give him some rope to hang himself and stand back. So I don't miss Franks. I mean, he had a few moments here and there. Yeah, he did get us a victory over Florida State, which I was gratified for. And yeah, he'll always be known for that Hail Mary at the end of that Tennessee game. The one highlight in a shit season. But as far as Franks is concerned, the less said about him, the better. I'm happy that Trask got his chance to shine. I'm happy that Trask is doing well so far this year. Hell, I'm happy that Trask is even being talked about in the Heisman a little bit. I don't think he'll win it. I honestly don't think he'll win it. But I'm glad that he's in the conversation. I think the man deserves what he's earned right now. I think he's earned the respect of other teams and his own team. And hell, I think even Mel Kiper, the alleged draft guru of the universe, is even talking about Trask now as a high draft pick. So I'm very happy for Trask and what he's he's a great story. He's proof that perseverance pays off, hard work pays off.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing, I guess, was it 2 years ago when Felipe Pepiu went down and got hurt and Kyle Trask took over. I remember when everyone was so like, oh my gosh, our season's gone or whatever. I liked Felipe Franks at first. Then Trask takes over and it's like, I don't know how long it's going to take Franks to recover, but he'll still be on the bench.
Yeah, I was never one of those people that said when Franks went down and Trask came in, I was not one of the people that said, "Oh God, the season's over."
Right.
I was saying, I'm sorry Franks got hurt. I hope he makes a recovery, but hopefully we now have an adult behind taking snaps, because Franks to me is nothing more than a very tall child, especially mentally. And I saw Trask do, mop up duty kind of thing in some games, and his decision making seemed to be a hell of a lot better, even in the limited amount that we saw. And I thought to myself, okay, especially after he brought us back in a game, in the Kentucky game, that we frankly deserved to lose that game. We were not playing well in that game. We didn't deserve to win that game. We were losing that game if you look back at the highlights. And Trask brought us back and we won that game. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe we found something. Maybe our season isn't over. And then we went off and, ran up a string of victories. I mean, we hung in for a good while with the eventual national champions in Death Valley, by the way.
Oh yeah, wasn't that like LSU's closest game? Pretty much.
I think there was one other game that was closer.
Auburn was the
But-
closest game.
Yeah, Auburn.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
okay.
But we beat Auburn, and we beat a bunch of other teams, and we kept it. I thought it was a very competitive game in the second half. I thought we kept it competitive with Georgia, who was a light years ahead of us offensively, defensively, and then we went on for a string of more victories, and we beat the absolute snot out of Florida State, which always makes me happy. And then we won a tougher than it should have been bowl game, and I was very happy, and I went into this season with great optimism.
Yeah.
Because of what I saw in 19. Obviously, this season is very, 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 very weird. And obviously, we have a lot of work to do on defense. But so far, I'm not entirely disappointed. And I'm not entirely convinced that we can't still win the East.
Okay,
Right.
now with that being said, Saleen, I have a question. I want you to take your Homer shades off for this one. You can draw a lot of comparisons from what we've seen so far this year between Florida and Mississippi State. How worried are you playing Arkansas now? Because that would frankly be a very embarrassing loss.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. That would be the kind of loss where, oh God, I don't even want to think about it. I still think we win.
Well, I mean, going into the game, obviously you would think so, but you would have thought Mississippi State would have beat them too. And like I said, from what we've seen so far, you can draw a lot of similarities between Mississippi State and Florida, the way they've played so far this year.
Wait a minute. Before I answer that, who is Christy talking about sniffing glue? Me? I mean, I am the old man here, so I'm wondering if she's referring to me. I'm not keeping an eye on the. Who are you talking about? Anyway.
I don't know, but she said "old man," so.
Yeah, well, that's usually what I'm referred to as. I don't know who else in there is old man besides me. I mean, BVD's not here, and what's his name? Billy
Cole.
Billy Cole. Yeah, he's not in here. He's older than I am. Anyway, what was the question?
Yeah, how worried are you about that Arkansas game?
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I wish I had seen the Arkansas Mississippi State game. I wish I could have seen it so I could see how Arkansas finally managed to do that. But what was it? 21-14 was the final score.
Like that, yeah.
So Arkansas wasn't putting up a hell of a lot of points. And well, neither was Mississippi State for that matter. But Arkansas only put up 21 against Mississippi State, which tells me that their offense isn't very efficient. So I still have I find it hard to believe that Arkansas could come into the swamp and beat Florida. But
Well, I mean,
again,
that game was at Arkansas, but I mean, you're talking a Mississippi State team that's not known for their defense, and has shown a very similar offense to Florida this year.
well, yeah, because
And they found a way to
quarterback
disrupt
came
it.
from it.
Yeah.
I think Florida. Florida is obviously their defense is a problem right now. But the more games they play, the more experience, the more time on the field, the better they generally the defenses will get better with time and playing and hitting and all that good stuff. So I think by the time the Arkansas game rolls around, our defense has become more seasoned and learns to play better as a unit. So I think Florida will probably and I just don't think that Arkansas has a lot of talent right now.
Well, I'm not saying
So
too.
I don't I'm trying to figure out what's behind the question really. I don't think Arkansas. I mean Arkansas. Obviously, there's always a chance with every team in every game. I mean, nobody thought South Carolina could walk in and beat Georgia last year, but they did it. That's because Georgia made a lot of mistakes, and South Carolina maybe not capitalized them, but did enough to win the game.
Because the
Could it
question
happen to Florida? Yeah, it
Miss-
could happen to Florida.
is a very comparable team to Florida based off of what we've seen so far this year.
Is Mississippi State? I don't think their offense is comparable.
I think their offensive system is probably better. I think Florida has more talent.
Well, I think Mississippi State probably runs the ball a little better than we do, but I think our quarterback play is better than theirs.
Well, Mississippi State.
Okay, I see what you're saying though. Arkansas beats Mississippi State. That you're saying has a similar offensive style to Florida's, but Florida has more talent. So, given those factors, does Arkansas worry me?
Yeah.
Well, given those factors on paper, I'd say that would worry me a little bit. But I think our defense is going to be better than it is now down the road a little bit. I think, and I think our running game will improve as well. So I think that Arkansas doesn't really. I don't think Arkansas is going to do as well against us as they did against Mississippi State. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'll score.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is that, like our next to last game or something?
I don't know where that is on your schedule. I
Let
have
me
no
pull
trouble
it up.
Miami schedule, much less somebody else.
Let me pull it up here. Hang on. Let's see. Don't know why I didn't memorize this or something. Let's see. Actually, the Arkansas game is right after the Georgia game.
Yep, there you go.
So if we lose to Georgia, God help us, we'll be pissed.
Or you can have a letdown after emotional loss.
Or an emotional win.
Yeah, possible. I'm not betting on it, but I'm just saying.
Let's see. Our schedule lines up interesting. The second half is Georgia, neutral site, Arkansas in Gainesville, Vandy in Tennessee, which is basically a home game for us because there'll be more Gators there than there will be Commodores. Kentucky, who Mark Rogers, for some reason, I'm still trying to figure out, picked to win the East, and that's funny to me. In Gainesville, and then the Vols in Knoxville, which will beat them. Oh, I didn't know that. I had those two games flip-flopped. We have LSU after we have LSU next week.
That's a home game, right?
Yeah, home game, and then another home game against Missouri.
Oh, okay.
So, actually, the LSU game is the ESPN 3:30 game.
Oh, nice.
How the hell did we not get that the CBS game? I don't care. You know what? The CBS commentators are so annoying. I don't even listen to them anyway.
Hell, I'm still trying to figure out how Miami got 3 game days in 1 year. I haven't seen that in forever.
Oh,
Damn.
no, Alabama didn't get the Bama got a 6 o'clock on ESPN, not the 3:30 game. So who got the 3:30?
Next week, I don't know who got it.
Tennessee and Georgia got the 3:30 this week.
Yeah, but next week I don't know who got it.
Oh, next week. Okay.
I don't know. But LSU Florida, that's always an entertaining game. I hope we beat A&M and roll into that game undefeated. I would like to roll into the Georgia game undefeated. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Well, no. Oh, I know. Next week is the Georgia-Alabama game, right?
Roll Tide. Heck yeah. And,
Well,
Jeff
that one,
and I-
there's the 3:30 CBS game right there.
No, that's it. It's going to be on CBS, but it's a primetime 8 o'clock game.
Oh.
And I just made a video yesterday. Chess and I got a bet.
Oh. Gator Zone is saying that October 17th, which is our LSU game, there is no CBS game at 3:30. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So that's why we're 3:30 on ESPN. Hopefully they don't stick us with that with a bad commentating team, which they usually do anyway. But it will be nice not to be playing a noon game, actually we're playing at 11 a.m. on in Tejas, aren't we? God, that's gonna suck. Jesus. Anyway, oh my, getting a little late. I have to run over to my father's house again. So, well, but Mr. Brett has shown up, so I guess I'll extend the stream a little longer because I always like to hear from the big dog.
How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Sorry,
Man has the deepest voice in the entire internet.
Well, to be honest with you, I actually have to kind of tune it up a little bit so that it's not so deep. So most of the time when I'm talking, I'm almost talking artificially.
So, Mr. Brett.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear your opinions on the upcoming battle between the Vols and them dogs. What you think, man?
I think Jeremy.
Well, I know what you think. I mean, it's going to be a slaughter, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, there's the trash talking side, which it's always fun to engage in, but there's also the realistic aspect of it. And with what happened last year at South Carolina, I can't jump out there overly confident again too soon.
Well, let me tell me and the few people that are here. I wish my streams would be more popular.
They'll get there.
But where do you think Tennessee can outplay Georgia? Where do you think Georgia can outplay Tennessee?
I think Tennessee has a fair shot at winning the coin toss.
Okay.
I think they have a fair shot in warm-ups. But as far as actually on the field play, I think maybe the first quarter looks a little sluggish. And then after that, the depth is going to kind of show itself. While Tennessee has done an okay job working that front, bolstering its offensive line, defensive line, the getting some talent there initially, it's when you rotate guys out. And after you've rotated out a couple of times, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the O-line coaches, they're going to start to see where the problems lay. And then that's the guy that's going to get picked on the whole game. So and it doesn't matter where they rotate him out to. If you got a guy at left, he moves over to the right, they're just going to transition to there. You're going to start out with a little bit of slow on the run game. I think a lot of the secondary at Tennessee might be a little suspect. And so I think that Bennett is going to stand back there and be a slightly better version of Jake Fromm, and you're going to see a slightly better score.
Okay, fair. Yeah, would you have And be honest here. Take off the Homer glasses for a second. Would you? Yes. Don't look at that shit. Look over here. Over here. I don't think there are many Georgia fans that would have predicted at the beginning of the year or before the year started that it was Stetson Bennett playing under center.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm trying to figure out, as a Georgia fan, what happened. Did Stetson Bennett all of a sudden come into his own? Was he not given a fair opportunity to showcase his talent in training and scrimmage with the ones? Was he just always kind of considered that he was going to be the backup, and then all of a sudden, DeJuan Mathis, looks like somebody threw a cat out on the interstate and he's trying to dodge cars. He doesn't know what to do. So, got to go to Stetson Bennett because he's the smoothest, most experienced guy we've got at the moment. So they throw him out into traffic, and all of a sudden the offense just falls right back into gear.
Would you think, as I'm thinking, that this sounds an interesting parallel to the Franks Trask situation?
No, because Felipe Franks is terrible.
Well, yeah, we know that. Well,
I think
Fromm wasn't much better, but he still beat us. But no, I mean, there's a parallel to that because everyone thought Franks was the man, even though he really wasn't. I mean, it was just another in a string of really bad quarterbacks, except for Greer. But Florida didn't know what they had with Trask, really. Georgia evidently didn't know what they had with Bennett, really.
I agree with that. But what I will say, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. But what I will say is that I feel like Georgia has struggled mightily since Kirby Smart, and maybe before Kirby Smart became head coach, with being able to develop a quarterback. The best quarterback you can name in recent history at Georgia, to anybody who actually looks at a stat card, would be Aaron Murray. Yep. And that's been a while.
That was like 2013 or so, right?
2012, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at Florida with the last decent quarterback they had, with the exception of that half year with Greer, was Tebow.
Yeah.
And that goes back to 2008. So a string of really, really bad, mediocre at best quarterbacks, except for one guy who did a stupid and had to leave. And three coaches that couldn't develop quarterbacks. I mean, Moose Thumb couldn't develop a quarterback with God's own help. McElwain is probably only slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
And, I got to admit, I'm a little disappointed in Mullen not seeing what he should have seen, but,
So
I got no explanation for that.
I've got an explanation for that. It's Mullen is nowhere near as good of a coach as what I think Florida needs to be a powerhouse school like they used to be. People rag on Mullen all the time just because he's Florida's head coach. Florida, and I said the same thing about Bo Pelini for LSU. I think SSC schools deserve the very best, and I don't think he's it. Just like I don't think Muschamp is it. But I do want to go back since we were talking about comparisons. Mm-hmm. And I want to point out somebody you may have heard of and listen to the whole story here before we get, completely off the tracks, because I don't want it to go that way.
Yeah.
The first game as a starter, Stetson Bennett had roughly 240, 250 passing yards, right?
Yeah.
Could have had more, but due to penalties, whatnot, it was around 240, 250.
You're talking about last week's game, right?
Yes, last week's game. That was the game he started. That's the first game he's ever started. And he started against a top 10 team. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. I compare his story a lot to Joe Burrow's story, because when Joe Burrow started at LSU against Georgia Southern, which was not a top 10 team, he passed for 278 yards. Nobody at that time was looking at Joe Burrow, except people at LSU, was looking at Joe Burrow like he was going to be the next Heisman guy. And then he absolutely went out and destroyed teams. There was only 2 games all of last year that he threw for less than 300 yards. One of those games was against Florida, and it was 293 yards. He was 1 pass away. The other one was a season opener. Now, do I think Stetson Bennett's going to jump out there and do that? Absolutely not. But I think it shows that when you've got an experienced guy who's been around the college football scene for a while, they can all of a sudden flip a switch. They can all of a sudden become, top tier talent. Does that mean that that's what's happened with Stetson Bennett? We don't know yet. But what scares me is that UGA can't seem to develop JT Daniels, DeJuan Mathis, or Carson Beck to a point where they should be able to take over a position that a walk-on has claimed. Now, he's a scholarship player now, don't get me wrong, but initially he was a walk-on. He was never offered the job at UGA. And so now you've got a backup walk-on guy who is now running the show. DeJuan Mathis, they trot him out there on the field, and it looks like somebody killed his puppy. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. So and nobody even knows if JT Daniels still exists. He's like, Manny Mateo's girlfriend or whatever her name is. Just not a So where's he at? Now, I can understand wanting to put a steady hand out there against Auburn, and it's hard to complain whenever you're getting the kind of performance that you're getting. But something's got to change.
Well, that leads me into a question that I just thought of just now. Now, according to Lou, and I guess maybe a couple other people I might have heard, but Lou is the only one that comes to mind. Honestly, he's the Georgia fan that I hear the most. You're number 2, actually.
I appreciate it. I'm ahead of Chess Hall.
Yeah, well, Chess Hall. I like Chess. He's a good guy, but I don't hear his shows as often as I hear yours. But according to all of you guys, Bennett was on a very short leash, quote unquote. No pun intended. Dog on a leash. Never mind. He was on a very short leash in terms of moving around, running the ball, et cetera, et cetera. How short a leash do you think? Two leashes. How short a leash do you think he's going to be against Tennessee in terms of maybe running the ball, pick up a couple of yards or something if he can and if he has to? The whole mobile quarterback thing. And how short a leash do you think he is before he makes one mistake too many and gets yanked in favor of whoever next man up is?
That's a couple of good questions. The first one's a little easier to tackle than the second one. The first question, I think that they're going to put him in. He's not a play caller right now. He is not. He's not a play caller, and you can tell that because he's still got the strap on his arm. He looks over to the sidelines. Every play is called for him, which is fine because I'm sure Todd Monken is the guy calling the plays. And then I believe that he is expected / allowed to make plays with his feet when he has to. There may be a design quarterback run here and there, but as far as expecting him to be a Baker Mayfield, I don't think that's what they're looking for. Baker Mayfield was a full play caller. And
he's also a little small to be doing that, isn't he?
He was. Well, so is Bennett.
Yeah.
But Bennett seems to be very agile. He's probably the most agile quarterback I've seen at UGA as a starter in a long time. People don't really remember, even in that first game when Mathis started, that the very first play was a design quarterback run. And he ran for like 12 yards. Now, he got called back on a hold. But right out of the gate, that showed me that there is a quarterback running play in Georgia's playbook. Now, the reason that first play makes so much of an impact on me is because if we go back a couple of years ago, the first play was a flea flicker down the field for big yardage. It was kind of a statement play. And I think that when Georgia rolls out and their very first play is a quarterback sneak for 10 yards, that's sending a message. I think that may be the reason why Stetson Bennett was not initially considered for the starting role. And I think that may also be the reason why Stetson Bennett didn't come in and play last week, because it didn't fit the current playbook. Now, he may come in next week and play lights out. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm betting right now the job is Stetson Bennett's to lose.
So
Now,
you think possibly seeing JT or Mathis is low, unless he just goes right off the rails?
Well, I think that depending on if it goes off the rails, how close is the score, and is it going off the rails because their defense is doing a great job through our offensive line? A lot of factors there, or is it that when a play breaks down, he runs back 5 yards and gets sacked? I mean, so if I think the worst case scenario, will they swap out to another quarterback? Yes. Now, who will they swap out to? I would think that at the moment, if something was to happen and Bennett was to come out of the game, the next player you would see come in would be JT Daniels. I think that they want he has more experience than DeJuan Mathis. I think that even though maybe he was cleared to play, I don't think Georgia wanted to put him on the field. There was no need to put him on the field. I also think, and risk getting him injured in a game where we're blowing out, Auburn. Then you've got DeJuan Mathis who comes in and he's basically playing mop up. I wish they'd let him pass a little bit, but I think when Mathis came in, that was more of a nod in his direction saying, hey, we haven't given up on you. You're still going to play in the games or whatnot. I think quarterback contention is a good thing. I think it keeps everybody sharp. Now,
okay, well, here's a question. The game is supposed to be played in a monsoon, or at least bad weather anyway. Do you think JT, let's say JT has to come in, or because we don't know anything about what Bennett can do in bad weather. I mean, he did really well in the first half in perfect weather, but in the second half, you scored 3 points. I mean, you shut the other guys down, but you only scored 3 points. So that's a concern. But
and again, it's one of those where if you're just looking at the scoreboard, then you would say, well, Georgia's offense stagnated in the second half. You could say that.
Well, I wouldn't, because I saw the game and they didn't have to do anything really.
Georgia's MO in the second half was to just shred the clock, and that's what they did.
Oh, they did that beautifully. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Auburn came out, kicked the ball off, basically went 3 and out. Georgia came out, and then I think we got the ball at like the 12-minute mark, somewhere around the 12. No, I think it was around the 12-minute mark. I could be wrong. Might have been 13. But I do know that whenever we finally gave the ball back to Auburn, there was 5 minutes left in the third quarter. They basically drained half of a quarter away with one possession. Now, when you've got a team that's down 3 scores and you can do that with one possession, you only have to possess the ball 3 more times and they're out of the game. So I think that was the MO. It puts the other team severely behind the chains. It makes them get in hurry up mode. It makes them go high pressure offense, high risk, low percent passes and plays to try and get back in it. And at that point,
both mixes are capable of doing that.
Correct. And so I think the game plan at the end of the day was just to put those guys in a position where it forced them to be, a phenom offense, and they just weren't. Bo Nix went for less than 50%. So I think that was a game plan. I think Georgia could have put 60 points on the board had they have chosen to, but there was no need.
I don't know if that game plan will work against the Florida or in Alabama, for that matter.
Alabama's a different story because Alabama's much deeper than Florida. Currently, Georgia's deeper than Florida, but Florida's catching up. But the talent level at the tippy top of Georgia is still a good step and a half ahead of Florida. Now, Florida's got a good offense. Florida has some very tall receivers. Georgia has put a dedicated focus on improving the cornerback situation, the safety situation, and the linebacker situation. Georgia held Auburn to 6 points, and we lost our defensive leader through a targeting call about halfway through the second quarter, and nobody missed him. That should scare the life out of anybody that's playing against Georgia.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a worry. That's a worry.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about losing one of your key players on defense. If you want to call him one of the leaders of the defense, you lose that guy. and then it's almost as if he never left. You know, when you look at the guy that comes in to replace him or whatever, and the defense is still clicking, that's huge.
Yeah, I did notice that. You would think I wouldn't because I wouldn't know who's who, but
Right.
I noticed. I noticed. Believe me, I did. I wish our defense were better. I wish I could be more confident in them. I got a month. You know, there's a month of games worth to play and improvements to be made, and we'll see what happens. But right now, you know, I'm not as confident as I would like to be in our defense.
This is what
that's youth and inexperience.
What I would be concerned against if I was Florida. Florida on the year has 276 yards rushing, so about 120, 130 a game.
That's actually better than it was last year.
Right. 60 of those yards come from Emory Jones and Kyle Trask alone.
I don't care who runs the damn ball. Run the damn ball.
Well, yeah, I understand. I understand. The only problem is that you're not going to run that ball against Georgia. Nobody is. Sounds like a homer. Sounds like you got all the gear on. I get it.
No,
but
really?
if you got to watch them play, you're not going to run that ball against Georgia.
Hey, Georgia, I would be a lying sack of shit if I didn't say that Georgia doesn't worry me. They worry me every year. It's Florida, Georgia, every year for as far back as I can remember. It's always been Florida, Georgia, because there's nobody else in the East that's there except us. So I keep my eye on the boys in red, very much. And yeah, they make me nervous.
The two guys that Georgia has to shut down to basically solidly shut down the Florida offense is Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney. If they shut down those two guys, the offense is done. So
well,
most likely
that's not going to be easy to do.
Well, you're right. It's not going to be easy to do, but Georgia's secondary is full of 5 stars.
Yes,
all the way around.
However, we also have 2 other receivers on the outside. If you do shut down Toney and you do shut down Pitts, what about Grimes?
Grimes is a good receiver, but he's not targeted very often. So what's going to happen is you're probably going to see a double up on either Kyle Pitts or Kadarius Toney. And Auburn has, by the way, just so you know, Auburn has the fastest wide receiver in all of college football.
Let me guess.
He runs a 10.07 100-yard dash. Correct.
Seth Williams.
That's correct. And guess what? He couldn't get open.
That's ridiculous.
I saw that.
Now, when you've got the fastest guy, speed kills. You've got the fastest guy in all of college football, and you have a head coach who is known for being the trickiest, gimmickest, slickest coach out there to pull all kind of stuff to get guys open, and he couldn't get a guy open. You mean we've only got to lock down 4 guys that can't run that fast? I like my odds.
I guess I will. I'll get in contact and tell Jalen Waddle to keep working.
I don't feel. I mean, I feel very confident in our offense. I think we can put points up against any defense out there. I don't have a lot of confidence in the defense right now. That's where my concern is.
So,
if we get better,
in my opinion, if you go to there's 2 things you have to really consider when it comes down to football, and this is going to sound rudimentary, but it's how many points can you score and how many points can you stop them from scoring. Georgia's defense is absolutely for real. Nobody disagrees with that.
Oh, yeah. One of the top defenses in the country.
Number one recruit last year, too. Or this year, I guess.
Yes.
Either way.
You guys up in Tuscaloosa got to worry about it first, sir. And I don't like your chances against their defense right now. Matt Jones better Matt Jones better. Jones? Yeah. Your quarterback needs to find another gear.
Well, I mean, listen, if
He don't
things don't
impress
work out, with Mac Jones, we know, hey, Bryce Young. Don't forget it. Don't forget, man.
Bryce Young, and I'm telling you right now, I said all off season that it was going to be, it was absolutely going to be Mac Jones, and yes, Mac Jones.
No, but with me, the way I'm the dispassionate one on this because I look at Alabama, I look at Georgia, I look at Alabama offense versus Georgia defense, and that to me is like the old saying, "Diamond cut diamond."
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's going to give? I mean, you've got a world-class offense and a world-class defense.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when Diamond goes against Diamond. Now, as far as Georgia's offense against Bama's defense, well, you know, so far I like what I've seen from Bennett. You know, it's a shock to me that a walk-on fourth stringer is doing that well. He played lights out the last game. I'm interested to see what he can do against Alabama's defense, which is not a bad defense.
No, it's not. I don't
It's going to
think
be a game. It's going to be the best game in the SEC all year, I think.
Oh, easily. I think that the game between.
Could you imagine if Georgia, within the next week or so, because I know it's, I guess, a week from this Saturday, if they play really well against the Vols, they're already in the top 4 at least, which I don't think this will happen. But could you imagine if it's a 1-2 game? How much more hype and everything will be around that?
I think a 2-3 game would be just as much.
Oh yeah,
it could be a 1-3 game depending on what Clemson does.
Yeah, that's true too.
And you know, you know, he's got a point. Ballard does. I mean, it could be a 1-2 game if Georgia can leapfrog and get to 2 or whatever. I mean, a 1-2, a 1-3, a 2-3. It's going to be one of those definitely. I think
I think at this point there is more bad blood between Georgia and Alabama than there is Georgia, Florida, Georgia, Auburn, or Georgia, Tennessee.
And it all comes down to one thing.
That's a bold
statement.
It
comes down to Kirby Smart wanting to be the assistant to beat Nick Saban, I think.
I think that when you're bringing in, I think that Georgia almost beat Alabama twice.
Oh, yeah. There's that.
With the coordinators we had. I think that Todd Monken is a far better coordinator. I personally feel like Bennett so far seems to be a better quarterback. He's certainly more mobile than Jake Fromm. I feel like our defense is better. I feel like the offense, as far as the weapons around Bennett, has improved. I think it's going to be a good game. But to finish up with the Florida Trask Georgia prediction on that, I really think that Florida has not seen a defense like what Georgia's going to trot out on that field.
That's true.
I think that they're going to be told, hey, Georgia has a good defense. Carolina held Florida 38, and Carolina doesn't have that good of a defense. You guys allowed Carolina to score 24, and I think they have a terrible offense.
Yeah.
So I've been saying it all along. Florida's defense is a major problem.
So if you want my prediction on how the way the game is going to go, I think you're going to see whoever scores first, it doesn't matter. The other team that's where the transition is going to be made. Let's say Florida comes down the field and scores. Okay. It's probably going to be one of those quick strike things that happens from time to time. Arkansas did it to us. I think you're going to see Georgia put the brakes on them on that. And then you're going to see a lot of 3 and outs, and you're going to see Florida struggle to stop Georgia's offense repetitively. And Georgia's going to go down and get a touchdown. So the score will be tied. Florida will come out. They'll make some plays. They'll get shut down. They'll punt it away. Georgia will come down the field slowly, score again. Florida will come out, go another 3 and out. Georgia will come down the field slowly and score again. And it will be one of those grindy games where you just can't stop them. It's not going to be a high scoring game, but you'll probably see that 24, 27 to 14 to 17 score.
Right.
That's what I think. And I think it's because Georgia's going to have the defense that will allow them to control the pace of the game. And as long as Georgia stays up by 2 scores, anytime Florida does score, you're going to see Georgia come right down there and answer it, and then they're going to put the brakes back on the defense again.
Yeah, Georgia's going to have that mindset. Like, if you hit us, we're just going to hit back and come right back at you. So, and I'm sure Florida, the same could be said for Florida too. It's not like I could get what you're saying. Like, it might be in the 20s and no more than that, but it might be a little bit of a shootout at some point in the game. Like, but at the same time, defenses, especially Georgia's, are going to be right there to answer.
Yeah, and I think that
I don't know that Florida's offense can be shut down the way you're saying it can be, but it's a tight game.
Well,
I think we can move the ball. Georgia hasn't seen an offense like Florida's yet. I mean, we haven't seen a defense like yours, but you haven't seen an offense like ours.
Well, but the offense you guys have, with the exception of about 4 players, maybe 5, is relatively new. You guys have a lot of new players on that offense. The players that's on this defense that Georgia has, they've played here for 2 and 3 years. They've seen this offense and they've seen the LSU offense. I just think that the Georgia defense is going to be the big deciding factor in this game. I think Florida's a great football team. I think Florida has an opportunity to even win the East if Georgia stubs its toe somewhere, because I believe this will be the only game Florida loses.
It's going to be a great game. I really think it's going to be this Florida-Georgia game coming up has, in my opinion, the potential to be one of the great ones in that series.
Well,
I don't know. I just hope our defense can show some improvement between now and then, make it more interesting.
Well, Georgia's almost every receiver Georgia has this year is either a 4 or 5 star and a returner, and a returning player. George Pickens, I don't have to tout how good he is, but nobody saw Karis Jackson coming out of the woodwork.
Right.
You're talking about a player who is on pace right now, even with a bad offensive game, I would say, against Arkansas in the first half, and a slow, grindy second half game against Auburn. He's still on pace to be a 1,000-yard receiver. Nobody saw that coming.
Yes, he is.
So when you've got that kind of talent out there, it's going to be hard to stop that offense.
Yep. It's going to be a tough game, both sides. But you got to get past Alabama.
Yeah.
There's your toughest game of the season. As much as I would love to say Florida is going to give you your best game, no. Logically, Alabama is going to give you your toughest game.
Well, if we kind of dive into that a little bit, and that's really what we've got to dive into, is not just the numbers on the board, not just the fact that Georgia's lost to them a couple of times here, but
I'm not even looking at that. I'm just looking at what's on the field in 2020.
Right. So how did Georgia lose? It took a backup quarterback both times because Georgia had drawn up good enough plans to deal with the original quarterback that it caused Alabama. Other than LSU and Clemson, Georgia has been the only team to cause Alabama any problems.
Yeah, and what were the scores? One was a 3-point game and one was only a touchdown.
That's it. So
that's true.
Georgia's talent level is there. Georgia's coaching level is there. I think the offense is the offensive coordinator is going to be the deciding factor in this go around. I think Georgia's going to have the ability to strike when it needs to, and I think it's going to be a really good game. I don't foresee a 51-10 or 51-17 blowout like whenever they came to Athens years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll be different, and I'm
listening.
Wish it was this weekend because I'm excited for it, man. It's going to be a good matchup, and I'll give the Dogs every bit of credit and every chance in the world because again, it's been close. And Georgia's probably going to have their best defense this year under Kirby Smart since he's been there, and that's saying a lot.
Now I will throw another caveat into the mix here. When you talk about coaches, the three cornerstones that started the Alabama dynasty was Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, and Scott Cochran.
Oh yeah, and you stole Cochran from us, buddy. That's not fair.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. How long did Scott Cochran coach at Alabama?
What, 10 plus years, something like that, like 13 maybe. Ever since Saban was there. He walks
into Nick Saban's office and he goes, "Hey, I've been here for a decade.
Yeah,
I'd really like an on the field coaching job."
Mm-hmm.
What does Nick Saban do? Turns him down flat.
Yep.
So guess what? He calls Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart didn't call him.
He wanted to come to Georgia.
Kirby Smart had called him a couple of years prior. Scott Cochran said, "No, I'm going to hang out." Kirby Smart said, "Okay, there's a job here if you want it." Scott Cochran walks in, gets turned down, walks out, calls Kirby and says, "Hey,
I'm ready."
Yeah. So we didn't steal him.
He left.
He left. He had an opportunity. He could have stayed. And it could probably go back tomorrow if he wanted to. But
I don't think he left as much as y'all lost him, Ballard. you lost him. Or you practically forced the boy out. Well, listen, guys, I gotta cut this off because I gotta get over to my father's house. He needs me for some more work to do, and I put him off to do the live stream, so I can't put him off anymore. He's the boss, so I gotta go.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I enjoyed talking with you, Ballard.
Brett, it is always a pleasure to get another person's opinion.
Yeah, well, as vague and as not factually substantiated as it might be, I'm glad to give it.
Yep.
You did fine, sir. You did fine. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
See you, Dwayne. See you, Brett.
Ballard, it was a pleasure having you on too. You did very well.
All right. Have a good day.
See you. Okay, guys, I know Melissa May was in there. I appreciate you keeping it down for me in the chat as the moderator. Always appreciate you, Miss May. You are a wonderful, wonderful, lovely young lady, and I mean that. Even though you can't see so good, you think I'm handsome, which I'm not. I'm gonna wrap it up, folks. I appreciate all you guys coming in. I know there were a lot of people in and out through the chat. I love doing these, especially now that I've started using StreamYard. I am going to be streaming again on Friday, the 9th at 8 p.m. BVD is going to be elsewhere, and he said I could borrow his slot again. So hopefully you guys will come back and bring some friends with you. So click that thumbs up on the way out, whether you're watching live or you're watching later. Comments, questions, and suggestions down below. I read them all. I respond to them all. I do delete folks that spam me or troll me or otherwise get nasty. I don't need that, and I don't need those kind of people. Don't forget to, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon so that when I go live, which I do every Wednesday at noon Eastern time, or I upload new content like I did this morning, you will be alerted to these things. I appreciate y'all stopping by, honest and for true. You really do make YouTubing a hell of a lot of fun. Go Gators, screw the haters. Love y'all.